Welcome to the Mixed Reception Podcast. I'm your host, Barrett Sigmund, and today we got a two-timer. Amber Nettles, she's back. What's up, Amber?
I'm very excited to be back. I miss you dreadfully. And yeah, I had so much fun on the first show that I was like, please have me back.
Well, it's interesting. For anyone who doesn't know you, we used to be in a sketch group together, the Prima Donnas. You have since moved on to Chicago, and now you actually have your own podcast,
I
Will It
do.
Binge?
Will It Binge? Yes, it's about TV, not movies. And we've done, I'm actually late right now. I'm posting an episode, but we've done 24 episodes in total. And I'm getting ready to start recording seasons 3 and 4. It was just a pandemic project to be able to talk with my friends about TV because we were all watching so much of it. It'll be interesting to see how it adapts now that we are, fingers crossed, coming out of the pandemic.
I was thinking that too.
You know?
This podcast started as like a little I'm bored pandemic project, and now it's like I don't know, should I keep it going? But I think I will. I think I'm going to be on it. I'm going to talk True Detective and Twin Peaks at some point. I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, I'm very excited because I'm a big True Detective fan from season 1, at least. So I want to hear your take on it because we used to talk about TV and movies a lot. We met at the Push Comedy Theater, and we were in the Prima Donnas, the sketch group together. But we were also in On the Fly and the improvised movie and various short form and Herald teams. Like we did a lot, and we took all of our classes together.
That's true.
For a long time. Yeah. Well, until I dropped out for a session. I think it was like level 4. I was like, I need a break.
You never finished.
No, I came back. I did like multiple rounds of level 5. After level 3, I took a 1 session break, and I remember you were mad at me because you're like, "What? You can't leave now?" Because we had already done 3 levels plus 2 of sketch, improv to sketch. Various workshops. Yeah,
you were so close, but I'm glad you eventually finished it. So we were talking about movies to talk about, and you mentioned Jennifer's Body. And I was like, holy shit, like I haven't seen this like since it came out. And I was like, actually would really like to revisit this. And I feel like, we'll get into the reception at the time. It didn't do very well. Polarizing reviews. Since it's kind of gotten a bit of a cult following.
Yep. Well, I think people are looking at it.
Movie, how did you hear about it? When did you see it?
Here's the thing. This came out in 2009.
Yes.
How old was I? I was a lot younger in 2009, as 19. Were we all.
I was 19.
I was in my 20s. But so like, this wasn't marketed to me, even though it should have been. Seeing a sexy lady on the movie poster isn't helpful to me. It wasn't even really marketed like a good horror movie, which would have been appealing to me. And so I didn't see this in theaters. I definitely didn't see it until it came on TV somewhere, maybe when I had an HBO subscription or something. And even looking now, because I went through some of like the press photos or whatever. Megan Fox was not very well known. Besides
she was well known. She was like at her peak. Transformers came out in 2007.
Okay.
And whatever you feel about that first Transformers, I think the biggest takeaway from that movie was like, who is this girl? She is the hottest woman on the planet, and that's what Megan Fox for like a good 2-3 years, Megan Fox was like the hottest woman on the planet, like no doubt.
But that's what I mean. Like, again, I don't care about that. I don't care if she's the hottest. Yeah. I only knew her from the Transformers movies, and she was there. Her character didn't have a lot of depth. She's there to be hot. and so no, her leading a movie that doesn't seem to be appealing to me. Like, why would I go see this movie? Which, again, I think that we'll get into this. The marketing team really screwed up on this.
I'm glad you really did. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I'm talking about. Again, I work in marketing, and like, if we could go back in time and pitch this as a story of female friendship and like satire and a fun horror movie. There's a lot of like really fun body horror moments there that are just like gross out cool, you know? Like I think it would have done so much better.
Well, yeah,
Personally.
I was 19 at the time, so yeah, this movie was marketed to me, who
Right.
is just like, oh man, she's hot. Oh, I want to see her tits. Like, I mean,
Which you
I
don't
was
even
the
get to.
demographic. You don't even get to. Yeah, that's a thing. But
you
yeah,
walk out disappointed.
Like, I was a little disappointed. It's an R rating. And I do like this movie, but I do wish I don't know. I wish it was a little like gorier.
I think they could have amped it up a lot. Like,
yeah,
and
it feels very tame for an R rating.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly, like, if you're gonna give it an R rating, then I want to see some nudity. I want to see even more gore, and I want to hear a lot more cursing, just in general.
Yeah, this could have been PG-13 easily.
Yeah, and I wonder if they were sort of on the fence about that. But so you know, this was also coming off of Diablo Cody.
Oh yeah, talk about her.
Wrote it, right? And she was coming up. She was like a
Juno,
very popular.
She won the Oscar for best original screenplay for Juno.
Yeah, so she was coming off Juno. You know, she had a lot of hype behind her because
this movie had a ton of hype. I feel like Megan Fox, hottest woman on the planet, and then Diablo Cody.
Yeah, one of the hip young writers who was well known for being a former stripper, and so having like this possibly, I'm trying to remember how it was sort of like done, like almost a gritty, this is a real woman kind of feel to it, which I'm not saying she's not, and I'm not she's not talented, but again, it's just a mess in terms of the marketing, and like just such a lost opportunity to have this go really well. You know, which I don't know. I haven't ever looked at like how much money it made or whatever.
I actually have those numbers. It had a budget of 16 million and it made 31.6. So it probably maybe broke even, maybe not even.
Yeah, that's not good.
No, it didn't do well at all. Like which is weird because I do feel like this had some hype, but I mean, yeah, like the marketing was just.
Well, and it has some really good moments, you know. So like, you know, getting away from the marketing or whatever, like what is this movie actually about? Which is what I think is really funny. It's not about just like this super hot chick. What is this about? Like, what is the central thing going on here? It's two female best friends who have a very unhealthy relationship.
I was gonna say, yeah, I feel like the Amanda Seyfried character, what's her name?
Needy.
I kind of feel like she's like, so they like grew up together. They're like BFFs. They were like, you know, they've been friends since they were kids, essentially. And then I think Megan Fox's character, Jennifer, is kind of a bad person. She's very like super into herself.
It's the casual cruelty that comes with beauty. It's a very common trope for a reason. Because I mean, I knew mean girls who got to be mean because they were pretty. You know, did you? I mean, think back to high school. I don't know if everybody had this experience, but like I could point them out in a lineup. You know, I think you can walk into, or at least at this time period. I don't know what teenagers are like now, but you could identify who was likely to be a mean girl by who was the prettiest in the room.
Yeah. I kind of feel like this movie though is essentially about a friend moving on. Like they were friends when they were younger, and she's she's smarter, kind of more kind of conservative, and you know, Jennifer's all into herself, and I think she's starting to realize like, and we've all been through this. You know, you have friends that you're friends with in high school, and then you know people change. You know, people go their separate way. I mean, I've had friends that like, oh, I was friends with you in high school or whatever. You're kind of a dick. I think this is a big part of this movie is kind of like moving on.
Yeah. Like, well, and I mean, it's sort of a commentary, again, female friendship, but friendship aside, like both of these young women are in a relationship where they're using the other person as a crutch. Megan Fox's character is using Amanda Seyfried. So she always has someone, because what do we know from common tropes? Beautiful people are actually very insecure. And you see some of that in the segment at the beginning of the movie where she actually goes off with the band. she is so desperate to be liked, accepted, and validated by what she feels is like the utmost in terms of the male gaze that she's willing to put herself in danger. Flip side, Amanda Seyfried's Needy's character using Megan Fox as a crutch because part of it too is like the slightly bisexual vibes that I think come full, which again, a very common trope for like young women in intense female friendship. But she uses it. Amanda Seyfried doesn't have to be a bitch or strong or the center of attention. That's what Jennifer's for. Needy doesn't have to do all of those things. So she's actually residing in a safe space with Jennifer as her best friend. You know, that's why you in these relationships, it's so strange like to like really look at it with this eye. But like when you have these very, it seems like lopsided dynamics in terms of like popularity or anything else with friendship, there's a reason that people stay in these relationships. They find security in the familiar. So sorry, I got real deep into that.
You're 100% correct. It is almost like a symbiotic, if you will.
Yeah, they feed off each other. They make excuses for each other. Oh, Jennifer's such a bitch. Why are you friends with her? Why are you friends with Needy? She's such a dork. They make excuses for each other because they also feel like the other person in the relationship might be the only person that will actually accept them because of their history.
Right. I honestly, I've had friends like that. It's like, like the old times were so good, but you've changed, and you know, you almost don't want to like let that go. But I also really love that scene where this is like kind of towards the end of the movie when she's getting ready for prom. Jennifer, I mean, she's already a succubus, and she needs to feed to stay like hot and you know, like have good skin and good hair and stuff. And she's like, if she's hungry, then she starts to like, she looks skinny and frail, and, you know, bad skin, and you know, and I love, you know, that shot of the like her in the mirror putting on the makeup, and like she's got pictures of herself, just like all around her room and stuff. So I like how they illustrated that point. Like she is like so into herself. And
but again, the curse of the beautiful people, I guess. Because I mean, you and I might have had this conversation before. It seems like pretty people have different problems. It's not, being attractive doesn't solve your problems. It just creates a whole set of new ones. That Jennifer is a very clear representation of what happens when you are basically living off your looks. You know, you don't have to have a good personality. You don't have to be nice to people. But you're constantly seeking validation. Like, I need to be the prettiest. I need to be, you know, the one that the band is paying attention to. Because if I lose that, what do I have left? You know?
Oh yeah, 100%.
And so her, you know, getting kidnapped and murdered obviously is the worst thing that could ever happen. But then her coming back and having to constantly do something to be able to maintain the looks and the status that was so integral to her personality when she was alive, like double horror. like literally torturous. Like that's a level of hell for someone like that, I would think.
Well, I also like how this movie kind of flips a lot of the tropes around. Like, I don't know, there's that trope, you know, where like, oh, like if you have sex in horror movies, you die. And basically Jennifer is telling them like, oh no, you don't want me. I'm a virgin. I'm a, you know, and
right.
That comes to ultimately bite her in the ass because they, she turns into a succubus because they fucked up the ritual. They wanted a virgin for that so they could become famous. The rock group.
So are we assuming that our audience has seen this movie or not seen this movie?
Seen it. They have to. Okay, they have to watch. All these are spoilers.
Yeah, because so like, who cares about spoilers? But also, like, I love that rock group. Adam Brody as the lead singer, who usually especially at this point, like played the nice guy who was in the OC, you know, and it was just sort of like, oh yeah, he's worshiping the devil. And there's very matter of factness about like, oh no, we got to kill someone. Okay. You know, and it's fascinating, like to see that whole thing play out. I love the fact that they kept on bringing that band back too. Like the band was capitalizing on the tragedies happening in that town, starting with the fire, like which made the payoff
they are
really
kind of they're using it all to their advantage. Yep.
Oh yeah. Yep. Which is why at the end of the movie when Needy breaks out of the asylum and you're watching, I guess, sort of the end credits, maybe. Where you've watched the end credits where it's showing the scenes from the hotel room. Yep. It's such a nice payoff. It really set it up for some kind of sequel, which is just like, I would have really enjoyed just seeing Needy out in the world going after people who are fucking with women, Yeah,
I love Adam Brody. I feel like he's best known for the OC, but he always just like kind of shows up and random things. Like, did you watch The Kid Detective?
Mm-mm.
Like, he was great in that. You should definitely check that out. That's a really good movie. Every time he just shows up in random things. He's really charismatic.
Yeah. Well, and he was in Gilmore Girls.
I don't go that deep with that.
I just rewatched Gilmore Girls for Will It Binge recently, and he was Dave Rogalski. He played a really nice, mild-mannered young man. And that's again what he was known for. So to see him in an evil role, I think was really fun. Who else was in this?
There's so many like people. Like Chris Pratt's in this. He's I guess the cop that like Jennifer's fucking. I guess he's like in the academy. He's like about to graduate from the academy and become a cop. But like, so they're like, I guess like hooking up. J.K. Simmons.
Yeah, that's great. And he has a hook for a hand. Is that ever explained?
He's got this awful curly-haired wig. J.K. Simmons is really funny in this movie. And then who else? Amy Sedaris is in this.
Yep, Amy Sedaris,
the mom.
As the mom. And then like the random one that always kind of makes me chuckle. So the guy Colin, the like goth kid that Jennifer eats, is Kyle Gallner. So he was in Veronica Mars, and was like a nefarious person in there at the very end. But I just remember seeing him, and it's so funny to me to see actors made up in like that goth look that was very prevalent at certain points.
So this movie brought me back
weird
because like, I mean, I was 19 when this came out, so I was like, I graduated the year before, but it was 2009, so it was still very much like high school wasn't that far away, and there were people that like this. This movie, like it just brought me back, like the music, like that pop punk. That music was like huge when I was in high school, like and then like that kind of emo like look. There's so many kids in my school that like had that look with like the that. I don't even know what you would call it, the hairstyle where they like kind of swipe it over.
The swoop? I don't know. It's the emo swoop, I guess. I don't know what that's called. The emo swoop,
and then like the rings through the lips and stuff, and the dark clothes. Like that was such a big thing in the high school I went to.
Well, even like Jennifer's wardrobe in particular, like the denim mini skirts, and the loose or the tight fitting zip up hoodies. Like there are a couple shots where I'm like, this is a perfect time capsule in a lot of ways. Like you feel like you're back in high school because it's starting to look dated. It is. If you give it 5 more years, I think it'll be even more like, oh, that's not what people look like now. And like, again, from a female perspective, like eyebrows and all this other stuff. There's also a really weird costuming choice that I want to touch on.
A costume choice?
A costume choice.
Okay, what is it?
When Needy is getting ready for the prom, she, for some reason, is put into this ugly fuchsia 80s style dress with puffy sleeves, etc.
Wasn't that the theme of the prom, though? I thought that prom was like kind of it wasn't? I don't know.
No, not what I could tell.
That is an ugly dress. I agree with you. It's a pretty ugly dress.
And her hair is weird. And I mean, I watched this last night, and if I missed it, I'm sorry. But there's no explanation why. It just takes me out of the moment, out of the movie when something so blatantly stupid is happening. It's like, okay, I can accept succubus and all of this other stuff. But you put that girl in a ridiculous dress, and I'm like, come on, you guys. Like, I can only suspend disbelief so much.
Speaking of suspending disbelief, and I love how the movie addresses this, is like I think Needy starts to kind of realize, like, she starts to do some research and stuff after Jennifer tells her about the night, you know, and there's an occult section in the school library, and I love how Chip is just like, there's an occult section in the school library, which I like that. I like the little montage of her researching, like, those pictures in the books that she's reading, they look pretty creepy.
Well, that's a very common like movie trope. TV too, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Oh, we have a whole occult section in the high school library. You know, your public library isn't going to have a robust occult section, and your high school library sure as shit isn't. So like, it's ridiculous. But again, also very much sign of the times, because she didn't go to Google to do her research.
I'm so sick of that in movies. And I like the movies that can't afford to use Google, and it's always some other bullshit search engine.
Yeah.
Like
some fake Facebook. That's always my favorite thing to see in a movie.
Jeeves or something.
Yeah.
No, to go back to your point though, I feel like that the dress that she's wearing, like, I feel like they did like they went out of their way to make Amanda Seyfried look like kind of unattractive.
Right. And it just,
she's like, a beautiful woman.
She's gorgeous, and she would, even with the glasses and her hair not done, and not a lot of visible makeup on, because obviously she's wearing makeup, but like the idea that she would go to the dance in that, just again, I'll accept the succubus and devil worshippers
and the occult section of the school library,
and Megan Fox flying through the air over a disgusting pool. But no, I will not accept that.
Yeah, what was up with that pool? I guess it was just like an old section of the school that was just abandoned. That was weird.
Well, also there's a very weird green screen moment where, like, when Amanda Seyfried, this is something we haven't. So first off, that pool is ridiculous. There's no real explanation of what it is, where it is, or whatever. We just know that Amanda Seyfried runs across a field to get to it at some point, which bad CGI there. It's very clear that she's running, and they CGI'd the field and the view of the pool house.
I didn't even notice that.
Oh yeah. But also, so she's at the dance, and she's hanging out in her ugly fucking dress, and she's just hanging out there, and she's wondering where Chip is, and she's wondering where Jennifer is. And then all of a sudden, what does she feel? That that Jennifer has bit Chip, because all of a sudden she knows something bad is happening, and she knows exactly where to go. And I have a problem with that. Like, unless there has been some establishment of a psychic connection between her and Jennifer.
He had the corsage that was on the ground, so she kind of had a rough idea of like where. That's a great line too. It's like, wait a minute, what do you mean you don't want to go to the dance? I bought you this $12 corsage.
Right.
It actually has some pretty funny.
There's Diablo Cody's a good writer. There's a lot of funny lines. There's a lot of great.
I don't know. So I'm kind of confused. So there's some funny stuff in this movie. But then they like say things like, I don't know. You're totally lesbian gay. Like this stuff.
Or that. Like salty morsels. Like nobody ever actually said that. But again, that's where like the writing, I think, is a little bit satirical, and like, what is the most heightened version of ridiculous teenage girl speak that we can
that's
use?
What I was wondering. I was like, is this like a satire? It's not clear enough. Like,
yeah, it's not.
That's what I'm saying. I think and I like this movie. I don't think it's perfect in its execution. I don't really know what it's trying to do a lot of the time.
Right.
But it is very entertaining. I mean, yeah, you have like some of the dialogue is just like, okay, nobody says this. This is kind of cringy. Is this like, what is this like? Is this a satire on what, teens, high school? I don't know.
Or again, on beauty standards, on friendship. I don't know. And then what is awful is the worst lines are given to Megan Fox.
Oh,
the worst lines.
So I'll tell you, my line of the movie up front is, "Oh, you give me such a wetty." That was funny.
My god, it's so bad. Well, and that's yes, I laughed at that, but I laughed at like the absurdity of that. and again, that's what I'm like, is this satirical? Is this, because what woman has ever in her life said Weddy? Find me that woman.
I don't know. I think this movie popularized Weddy.
I don't think so, dude. I don't think anybody walked out of that theater and be like, well, I have a new vocabulary now.
Okay, I will say
adding a phrase to my lexicon.
I will say this about that line. I hadn't seen this movie. So when I saw it, like, I think me and my friend just like rented it from Blockbuster. Like Blockbuster was still hanging on, just barely. This was probably end of 2009, early 2010. And I hadn't seen it since then. And that was the one thing I remember was, you give me such a Weddy. Like that stuck with me out of like. Well,
if someone said that to you, I don't know if you're in the.
It's a weird. That's the thing. It's such a weird fucking thing to say. So yeah, of course it's gonna stick with you.
It's just like, it's bad. That's bad. But again, I feel like they were trying to go for that. Just sort of ridiculous kind of language that is. Again, a heightened version.
I wrote this down. Penis cheese. Somebody says that.
Oh yeah.
We mentioned the racist line. Find a Chinese chick to buff your situation. She's got the bad nails.
So yeah, when we were just chatting before we were recording. So the other thing that I actually really liked. I don't like racist language. I don't like racism. Let's go ahead and say that. However, I think Diablo Cody was very adamantly trying to encapsulate or like really represent this kind of small town America where that type of casual racism language would be acceptable. Like nobody would bat an eye. And the particular thing that stuck out to me was when Jennifer is talking to Needy and says something about her manicure. And she's like, you need to find a I don't even want to say it. It was a racist thing to say. And it doesn't hold up well in terms of like
Chinese chick to buff your situation.
Yeah, it doesn't hold up well. It makes me uncomfortable, because it's just a blatant bad thing to say. But flip side, that is something that some 17-year-old high school girl who's full of herself would say.
Yeah, I mean, people, with amongst friends, they say shit like that, So that's kind of realistic.
So I just thought it was weirdly accurate depiction of
that part. I mean, and there was, some of these, there's some funny lines and there's some quippy dialogue and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's just like sometimes they just say like weird shit.
So, because
a lot of high school movies are like that. A lot of movies you go back and you're like, like that's weird.
So one of the things I think is really interesting too. So this was kind of marketed to guys, but there are no good or strong male characters in this besides maybe the J.K. Simmons. Yeah, J.K. Simmons as a teacher, but he's kind of comic relief. He's not a main, because Chip kind of sucks. Needy's boyfriend kind of sucks.
So that to me is kind of like a kind of role reversal. Typically, it's like the damsel in distress. The guy is like saving these girls and stuff, and then it's kind of flipped. They're saving. She is saving him. Needy is saving him, and he's kind of the damsel in distress.
He also just sucks. Like he is accepting Jennifer's overtures.
Is he?
Kisses her back. Well, he kisses her back and he goes to the pool house with her.
Yeah, I think he's like, he kisses her a little bit and then he's like, I can't do this. Well, but Needy did break up with him.
Yeah, but that's still, it's so soon after, and that's Needy's best friend. Like, and I know shit went down in high school, we all dealt with that kind of thing, but still not the best look. I wasn't sad when Jennifer, tore his neck up and killed him.
So you're not a fan of Chip? Chip,
not a fan of Chip.
He does kind of suck.
He's
a good boyfriend up until she breaks up with him.
He's needy. He's like needy and tentative, and he's there. I think they did a really good job casting him because he very much reminded me of like the sweet high school boyfriend that you have.
Yeah, the casting is perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Huh.
But yeah, should we go over reviews? I have a couple of
Yeah.
reviews. Let's see what we think about these reviews. I have to start with my boy Roger Ebert.
All
Now,
right.
he gave this. I'm gonna start with the positive. He gave it 3 out of 4. It's not art. It's not Juno. It's not Girl Fight, for that matter. But as a movie about a flesh-eating cheerleader, it's better than it has to be. I kind of
All
agree
right.
with
That's
this
fair.
review.
Yeah.
That's kind of my. That's kind of how I feel about this movie. Like I think it's. Yeah, I don't know. It's like not. It's. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot works, a lot doesn't, but overall, like, it's a pretty enjoyable, like, dark comedy horror movie. I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
I actually agree with Roger Ebert.
Yeah. I think it's better than it should be, but I just wish for more because I think I see the potential of how it could be really good.
Well, yeah. Do you think, like, so Diablo Cody, obviously, kind of a strange career move. Like, okay, I just won an Oscar for best original screenplay. I'm gonna go do this, like, kind of cheesy, like, horror movie comedy.
Well, and again, I don't think it was the intention was to make a cheesy horror movie. I haven't looked up what Diablo Cody has said about this, but I would expect that she thought she was being edgy and she, because there's so much inappropriate language and whatever. Like, I think she was trying to do something here. But I don't know, how it got lost. Like, the final result is not exactly probably what she set out to do.
Well, this review. So tell me what you think about this. Variety, Justin Chang. He gave it like a 40 out of 100. This high school horror romp tackles its bad girl gone really bad premise with eye-rolling obviousness and fatally a near total absence of real scares. I don't know. I think some of the criticisms of this movie is it's not. Yeah, I mean, it's like it's not super scary or super funny. It doesn't really go in either direction.
Well, it sounds like that reviewer needs to take a chill pill. Like, he's taking things a little too seriously.
I did want some more scares, but I tell you what creeped me out is when we first see Jennifer, like, after the whole thing went down. We at that point in the movie we really don't know what exactly.
happened. If it had stayed, a little darker, because that's terrifying. Her showing up, the jump scares, I thought the vomiting was a little much, like, when she vomits up all that stuff, but the horror of it. But we at that point still, do we already know? Yeah, we know that she's dead, but Needy doesn't, so I think that
I don't think we know anything yet. I think at that point, because they do a flashback later, like right before they start, I think right before or after they make out, it's during that scene, like, she kind of tells her, like,
yeah, she tells them, but I'm trying to remember, because we'd see the sequence where they take her to the woods and they tie her down, but I don't remember when we get the stabbing. Regardless,
right?
Yeah, regardless,
that's an effective scene, though.
Yeah, I do get what this reviewer is saying. Like, it's like, I just wish that there had been either more humor or more horror, because it's like straddling the line, and because it didn't go hard in either direction, it almost isn't enough for either one of these.
You hit it on the head. Like, yeah, it is. It's like not super funny, but it's not like really that scary. I mean, there are a couple of neat visuals.
Mm-hmm.
I did like the silhouette. In that abandoned.
Yeah, when she's cool. Tearing the emo guy apart. Or he's not emo, he's goth. When she's tearing the goth guy.
I don't know. I rope them together.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, no, she just gets the chicken out of the fridge. She's like, oh, that sludge, like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty gross. And again, taking something beautiful and making it disgusting is super fun. And I want to see more of that. So it's like, go hard on the body horror and the grossness of what's happening, because that's what makes it more compelling, No,
yeah, I totally agree with you. Also, it's worth noting, like, obviously this is a female perspective, but it's kind of interesting. Like, you look in like a typical horror movie, the girl would not follow some guy into the woods. I guess Jennifer kind of does, but Jennifer sucks. But like, you know, they see Jennifer and she's like, oh, come follow me. And they're like, yeah, I'm going to get laid.
Yeah. Well, and that's, you know, there's a little bit of that sort of trope when it comes to mermaids and vampires and basically anything else. When you have the female iteration of those monsters, their beauty is meant to trap and bait men so they can fuck them up.
Isn't there a line about mermaids? Girl who's I wrote this down. I don't know where it is in the movie. Girl who's half sushi, I guess. She has her blowhole.
Because she rented Aquamarine.
That's so right. Oh yeah, he wanted to invite her to Rocky Horror Picture.
Right. And she's like, what is she? Oh, she doesn't like boxing movies.
Yeah, that was like, stuff like that is really funny. Like,
yeah. And how unapologetic she is about, she's asking the guy that's in Needy's creative writing class and is like super emo and like creative or whatever to come watch Aquamarine at her house. You know, it's like,
but again, it goes back to my point. Like, the guy is like, yeah, sure, I'll watch some dumb ass movie with you. I just want to get laid.
High school guys will do anything.
Right. So that was, I mean, that's accurate. That's accurate for any man, really.
That's true.
Okay, I got a scathing review. This is my last one.
Ooh. All right.
Gave it a 10 out of 100. Nick Pinkerton, the Village voice. This is a sophomore production from Juno screenwriter Diablo Cody, similarly told through ultra stylized slangy teen dialogue, which is cool in theory, and the way it respects the verbal resourcefulness of idle flyover kids, but is excruciating to listen to an actual fact. So he hated the dialogue.
What a sentence. Well, I mean, he's being more articulate, but basically saying it's kind of perfect. Again, flyover states, kids in small towns, you know, wherever. That makes sense. And in theory, it works. But having to listen to it kind of sucks. Totally agree. Completely agree. 100%. That guy should review everything.
I don't know. Even a 10 out of 100, it's not that bad.
Well, if that's the only thing that he said, that doesn't make sense. Like, the dialogue is the only.
That was just a blurb.
Well, but I like that articulation of the issues with the dialogue, because you want to. There's certain points, like you said, the girl. It's about a girl made out of a sushi, or who's half sushi, or whatever. Like, what a great throwaway line. There are a lot of really good moments, but then it's like, oh, you give me a wetty. I can't believe.
Well, okay, now that's the all-time greatest. You're gonna do like AFI's top 100 movie quotes and number like
the fact that I just let those words come out of my mouth. So now there's always going to be a recording.
You make me get a wetty.
Oh, gross. It's so bad.
That is an awesome line. I think that's hilarious.
Well, it's an awesome line for like a 19-year-old guy to hear and be like, man, I wish someone would say that to me. But like in theory, if someone said that to you now, or even back then, you would be so appalled and be like, really?
I think I did start saying that a lot, like after this.
Of course.
Because that was the only thing I remembered from this movie was she said that.
Oh, well, we haven't been touched on when Needy stabs her and Megan Fox's last line is my tit.
Yes, I wrote that down. And then she's like, no, your heart. That was a little cheesy.
I was mad about that one. I was hoping for, and maybe they're just doing it to screw with our expectations, but I was hoping for that moment where like Megan Fox, her actual self, would break through right before she died to like not thank Needy, but I mean, basically Needy's also ending the life of a demon inhabiting Megan Fox's body, and like, but Megan Fox is still there.
I feel like Jennifer is not all that much different as a succubus as she was like as a human. Really,
she's internalizing her pain now that she has to eat boys to stay young and beautiful. The fact that she didn't up until the very end like go after Needy, who was a prime candidate for getting eaten, because like who's gonna miss her? I hate to say it like that, but like she very clearly has some semblance of humanity left.
Well, that's why I like that scene. To go back to that scene I brought up was like her in the makeup, and she's like kind of tearing up, and she looks, like that's kind of closest thing of like any depth that we get with Jennifer.
Yeah. Well, so she's stuck in this horrific cycle that is based on, prior to being killed, like the main valuation of her life is how she looks. And now she's stuck in this horrific cycle. So when she gets stabbed by her best friend, ultimately ending her life and ending the cycle, you'd think the payoff would be at some point just to have a nice character journey for Jennifer, to have her have some sort of like recognition of the mercy basically that Amanda Seyfried's character is giving her. But no, it's my tit. Like
the movie's kind of all over the place. Like, I don't really think it really sometimes knows what it wants to be.
It sucks because I think I like this movie a lot more before you and I started talking about it.
No, I like the movie, but there are some things I'm kind of just like, I do think it could have been better.
Well, now I think everything needs to be improved. Let's remake this movie in 10 years.
Hey, then it'll be over 20 years old, and then it's prime.
Yeah.
Prime for a remake. Also, she gets stabbed, and she's like, got a tampon.
Right. Like, come on.
That's the thing. Like, it doesn't push the comedy too far, but then it doesn't push the horrific elements too far. It's just like this weird, like, tonally, I don't really think.
It's like it's trying too hard, but it's at the same time not trying hard enough.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. It's a really tough movie to like kind of dissect and talk about.
Yep.
I got some trivia.
Ooh, let's hear it.
Okay, this
one. I know like one thing.
Well, what do you know? You tell me what you know.
I know that Megan Fox. Okay, I know. Fun trivia fact. Well, it's not really fun. It's also just indicative of the times that to get to the point where she looked bad for those scenes, she also dieted down to 97 pounds.
I have that, yeah.
So she would be skinny, lackluster hair, bad skin, because you diet that heavy, like it's taking an effect everywhere. So she, pulled who was it? Joaquin Phoenix and a bunch of other people. Yeah, who have pulled the whole I'm gonna diet down to.
I think Christian Bale does that a lot too.
Yeah. But let's give credit where credit's due, because that's it's a very hard, difficult thing to do. And she did it. I don't think it was healthy for her, obviously, but all right, that's the only trivia I have.
That's good. I actually had that. I did read something that like, in order to market the film, they ended up not doing this, but I think they were talking about maybe having like Jennifer, like Megan Fox going on like porn sites and doing like web cams and stuff.
Of course they were. And then it's like at this Diablo Cody being a former sex worker, like sex work is real work. Okay. But like, I have a lot more sympathy for Megan Fox over the past few years as more information about her experience in the industry has come to light. And it's like, I liked her on New Girl.
Oh, yeah, I have it right here.
You're not bad.
In a February 2016 interview with the New York Times, while trying to illustrate how completely the studio's all-male marketing department misunderstood the point of this movie, director Karen Kuzma recalled that one of their marketing ideas was for Megan Fox to do live chats with amateur porn sites. Kuzma said that she begged them to not even mention the idea to Fox because she will become so dispirited. It was crushing.
Yeah.
That is so
and again, now we know all male marketing team. So they were like, let's just put Megan Fox with her hot body in front of all the men. How do we get them? And again, this would have gone better if they marketed it toward women.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, it's interesting. I was kind of scrolling through the Wikipedia article, and I think, a couple years ago, 2-3 years ago was kind of the start of the Me Too stuff.
Yeah.
And I think, I think that's kind of the beginning of when this movie kind of started to get reassessed and kind of develop a cult following. Which is kind of a weird statement because she is murdering innocent people.
Yeah. Well, it's
I mean,
not
the
about.
end of the movie is like, yeah, get those guys, but like, but all these other guys are just like they're not bad guys.
Well, I mean, I think it's the same thing as like in an improv scene. It's not really about what you're doing, it's about the relationships. And again, at the crux of this is Needy and Jennifer. And like they're sort of dancing around each other for the movie until, the end of it, the end of their relationship, basically. Um,
Well, I got another
that's what
tidbit.
okay, go.
Emma Stone was considered for the role of Needy. What do we think of that? Emma Stone.
I think that would have been fine. I haven't seen Emma Stone's latest, Cruella, but I do enjoy Emma Stone a great deal. I think she probably would have brought a little more humor to the role.
That I agree. Yeah, because I mean,
Yeah.
I think at that point she'd come off like what Easy A and like Superbad.
Yeah,
Easy
which
A
I mean,
might have been after this, but I can't really see her being. Not that they push the nerd. I mean, Amanda Seyfried's kind of a nerd in this movie. It's not like pushed to like that far, but I don't know. I believe Amanda Seyfried more as like kind of a nerdy girl than I would.
Yeah. Well, so Easy A came out in 2010. So it came out a year later. So yeah, I don't think Emma Stone had like I don't know how much Amanda Seyfried, I don't know how popular she was at this time either. She had done some stuff.
Mamma Mia.
Was that before this?
That was before this.
Oh.
Been in some
And
things.
I know that was 2008. And I know she did what was that TV show about the polygamists? Big Love?
Big Love.
On Big Love.
Okay.
Yeah, I knew that. And that's what I knew her from. No, I think Emma Stone could have done this role. Again, I think it would have been a little more humorous. And I think that you could buy her as a nerd, but it might be less of a, I don't know. Like I haven't seen Emma Stone do like a quiet nerd role, if that makes sense. She's always very direct and smart.
Okay, this is another interesting casting what if. Blake Lively turned down the role of Jennifer due to scheduling conflicts with Gossip Girl. She was almost Jennifer. I think she had the role. She just couldn't do it. I don't know. I've actually seen a little bit of Gossip Girl, and Blake Lively. I don't know. I'm just going off of what I've seen her in. She does play her character kind of has a heart. She's a flawed character in Gossip Girl, but she has like kind of a heart.
Yeah.
So I can't really see Blake Lively be this like completely self-absorbed, like kind of cruel.
Yeah, it's hard. And Blake Lively doesn't have this huge body of work. Like she's done stuff. Like she was great in A Simple Favor, but I don't know how much of a stretch that was.
Oh yeah, Simple Favor. Yeah,
her and Anna Kendrick
finished it, but yeah, she's kind of an edge. Has an edge to her.
Yeah, but again, I don't know how much of a stretch that particular role is to play cold and aloof, and that's not what this Jennifer role is. There's a little more cruelty and a little more like vapidness that I actually think is kind of hard to play without kind of being a caricature, which Jennifer did end up kind of being a caricature of it. So I don't know. I don't know if I could see anybody else in this role right now, maybe because I haven't thought about it. I think Blake Lively is a different kind of sexy. She's more of like the all-American girl.
Yes. Jennifer, I mean, Megan Fox almost is like, she like I said, she was the hottest woman on the planet for like a good couple of years. She's almost out of this world hot, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I mean, and she still is. She's had like 3 kids. She looks incredible.
She looks great.
She's beautiful.
All-time MILF.
Yeah, and also like I think I mentioned like I really enjoyed her in New Girl. And she was in something else that I really enjoyed, like TV. She's done quite a bit of TV work. And it's just hard because I wish this had gone better for her. But I think I wish the industry had treated her better in general.
Yeah, Megan Fox, she kind of had a rough go of it because, like, well, those Transformer movies are fucking terrible. But she got kicked off of the third one because I guess she called Michael Bay like Hitler or something. That's a very. If you ever looked into that, that's very interesting. Like, it's very unclear on who fired who because I guess Steven Spielberg was like the head of DreamWorks and like a producer on the movie, and then he, I guess, told Michael Bay to fire her.
So I think she got a reputation for being difficult to work with, which was sort of unwarranted. That's a lot of these 2000s, 2010s sort of, oh, that actress is difficult to work with. I think a lot more of that is being examined because it's like, were they, or were they just, speaking out against some very obvious problems? And they got blacklisted for it. So I wish things had gone better. I wish this movie were slightly better. But I don't think that it, even after we've said all these things, I don't think it's as bad as some of the critics think. I actually think it's a really fun, like entertaining watch. Just in general. It's fun.
I got one more little tidbit. They considered Pete Wentz and Joel Madden. So Pete Wentz from Fall Out Boy.
Yeah.
And Joel Madden for the role of the Adam Brody role. What's his name? Nikolai,
whatever. Well, and I get that, but I'm kind of glad that they cast Adam Brody.
You wouldn't expect it.
Yeah, the juxtaposition of seeing Adam Brody in Gilmore Girls and in the OC and like this nice kind of dorky dude fronting a band and being a devil worshiper was just, I think that was sort of fun. It looked like he was having a blast playing that character.
He's a good actor. I really like.
Yeah,
I've always liked Adam Brody. And I like the music. The soundtrack in this movie is killer. And I love Low Shoulders, the band, whatever that song that they sing, I really liked.
Through the trees, I will find you. No, it's a banger. It absolutely, it makes me like, I would have been singing along to this in my car in college. For me, it would have been in college or like right after like going to work or whatever. Like it's a perfect song for that era.
Yeah. Oh my God. You got Florence and the Machine. They were in this.
Yeah.
They had a song in this. Panic at the Disco had a song. It just brings me back the whole time period. And,
yeah.
All right. We're going to do some categories.
Okay.
All right. So what is the best scene of the movie? Oh, it's easy. The kiss. I don't feel like we've talked enough about
I don't care about the kiss. I feel like that was just like a manipulation game, that because I like the horror movie elements of it. I think I'm going to say that opening sort of situation where she gets to Needy's house right after she is turned into the demon, and just like, again, that horror I really, really enjoyed. I thought it set things up nicely. I wish that they had sort of leaned into it more.
I agree with you completely. I love that scene because I was like watching it yesterday. I was like, oh, this is kind of creepy and gross, and it's very well played by both. I mean, Amanda Seyfried really just looks like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah. And also, like, you ever put yourself in a position, if my best friend showed up and was doing this, how would I react? Like, would I just stand there shocked for a little bit? Because I probably would, because I'd be like, what the fuck? You look alive, but things are bad. What's going on?
What's the worst scene of the movie?
Ugh. The sex scene.
No, that's the best. There, I changed my mind for the last category.
No, so there's just two. I don't even know if it's worst scenes, but like when Needy's having sex with her boyfriend again, they talk, or they are at least showing some sort of psychic connection between Needy and Jennifer without ever explaining it. So Needy's having sex with her boyfriend who bought multiple condoms at Target or whatever. Funny, haha. And it's a very gentle, loving sex scene that two 17-year-olds would be having when they've lost their virginity.
I have to interrupt you, but I love when he's like, and what? Am I too big?
Yeah. So, which, I mean, that's a beautiful little funny moment, because that actor does such a good job of like being hesitant to ask that question, but like hoping that the answer is yes, but juxtaposed with this cute little sex scene between them until it turns dark is Jennifer, tearing up some boy, and Needy through some psychic connection is like having like visions while she's fucking her boyfriend, and it's just weird and with no explanation. I'm like, why is this happening? Why can't we just let them have this one sex moment? Like, and even if it's happening at the same time, and we're doing this back and forth, that's fine. But to have Needy's character basically start going to hysterics while her boyfriend's inside of her just seemed extreme to me.
It's so funny because he's like, yeah, do they lose their virginity at that point in the movie?
I think they've already had sex.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think they've already had sex,
okay.
But it seems pretty early in their sex having. Because he's like, I got extra condoms or whatever his line is. So I think that the indication is that they have used condoms together before, I'm
trying to think, worst scene. I don't think there's like any like outright like bad scene in this movie.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. I don't know. I feel like the ending could have used more of I didn't hate the ending, but it could have used more of like a oomph when she, like we kind of discussed when she kills Jennifer.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoyed that for what it was.
But it was just like, it was just kind of, oh, it's a joke. Oh, I needed my tit. I don't know.
Yeah, it's almost like it was being played for laughs. Like it wasn't, I don't know.
It wasn't bad, but it was kind of weird. And I don't know, it needed something. I can't put my finger on it.
More danger. I mean, they were floating above her bed, but it didn't feel like the stakes were very high for some reason.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Best quote. This is the easiest question I've ever answered in my whole entire life. Best quote is, "You make me get a wetty."
It's gross. I don't know if I have a best quote. I'm definitely not agreeing with that one.
Oh, there's another one I wrote down. I thought you only kill men. I go both ways.
Oh God. Right. And that I go both ways. I just
don't know if it's like wink wink or is it serious or
that's wink wink. That's like someone wrote that was like, like I know that particular line, I go both ways, was in the marketing. It was in the trailer.
Sure,
probably,
I haven't, I didn't go back to watch the TV spots and trailers. I'm sure that
it's supposed to be titillating and like edgy and stupid. It's just dumb. I hate it. I dislike this more than I thought I did. And I like this movie.
That's the thing. I had so much fun watching this, but like it is a flawed movie. Is there a best unintentional comedic moment? I don't know. I feel like,
I mean, it was intentional, but I do like it when Chip is like, am I too big? Like, it's just, that might be my line, like my favorite line of the movie, because I think his delivery is just perfect.
There was one line where he's like talking to Needy at on the stairs, and then she's about to break up with him, and they're talking about Jennifer, and he says something. I don't know the exact line, but he's like, I thought I was just a guy that, shared 4 beautiful minutes with you or something. He says something about like,
yeah. I'm not saying that just because I made love to you for 4 minutes.
That's what it was.
Yeah. Like, good for you to know exactly how long you lasted.
I know he has like a little time, like a timer. That's funny. Best performance. I'd probably Amanda. I'll probably give it to her.
Yeah.
Oh, Adam Brody. Sneaky. Adam Brody steals the show, in my opinion. I'm going to give it to Adam Brody.
Yeah, I think he was better than he needed to be in that role, if that makes sense. I think he was good. I think for what little screen time he got, Kyle Gallner, who played Colin, the goth kid, I thought the goth kid was well cast and did a good job. And J.K. Simmons was fun. Like, again, he was more there to have like a little bit of an adult perspective on what was happening and a little bit for just like comic relief, I think.
All right. Worst performance. I don't think, you know what? Megan Fox, I don't think is bad in this.
No, I don't think so either. I don't think anybody is really like bad in it.
Yeah. That's kind of a reflection of the whole movie. It's like, it's not like great, but it's not bad at all. Yeah.
Like, I mean, it could have been so much worse. It could have been a lot worse. I think that the casting actually is really good. Because again, I've mentioned Chip. I've mentioned a lot of the secondary characters. I thought they all did a really good job, and we don't get a lot of fluff secondary characters either. Like there aren't like people with a lot of like single throwaway lines. Like it's pretty well contained and concise.
Except for the girl who's like, "You're lesbian gay." She's the worst actor in the movie.
Yeah, that's the one. Whoever she is, she had the worst performance. Thank you for reminding me of her. I blocked her out. So I was like, this is stupid. I hate you.
Okay. Do we have anything else to cover?
No, I mean,
anything else you want to add?
I feel like if you haven't seen this, you should. But going into it knowing it doesn't really know what it wants to be. Like it's not really a comedy, but it's not really a horror.
Yes. I agree with you. What would you, if you were to rate it, what would you rate it? Out of 5?
On a scale of what? Out of 5?
1 to 5, yeah.
I mean, for the fact that I had watched it on my own in the past year, voluntarily, and then watched it again for this, like I'd give it like a 3.5. Maybe I'm being nice, but like it's a decent watch. I could probably watch it once a year and it would be comfortable and entertaining. It's not awful. It's not going to make me yell at my TV.
No, I mean, I would probably, if I had to rate this, I would probably give it, I'd probably give it a 3 out of 5. I do think this was, the critical reception to this was I think was a little bit harsh.
But it was marketed badly.
Right. The marketing certainly didn't help. But I also feel like, as we've discussed, I feel like tonally it's like a tug of war. It's not one direct, super high in one direction or the other. I don't know. It's a fun movie. And I think everybody's good in it, and some of the dialogue's good, but then some of the dialogue's cringy. And I wish it was a little bit more, I don't know. I would like some more violence, and we were talking about some body horror elements. Like, I would like some more of that. I don't know. It just doesn't really, it's a good movie, but it just doesn't really go that far in either direction.
Yeah. It's trying too hard, but not trying enough. Like it's a comedy, but it's a horror, but it's not really either one of those. And there isn't like, and some movies are like comedy horrors, like what is it? Shaun of the Dead. And I would say even Cabin in the Woods has a lot of humorous points to it, and it's like this.
But Cabin in the Woods is like, okay, clearly like that's a satire, like on horror. I mean, that's making, you know what I mean?
Right. This is more of a thinker, which you kind of don't want it to be a thinker. It's like it needs to be either more blatant in its violence, horror, etc., or more blatant in its comedy and less satirical, maybe. It's just hard. But again, I think it's an entertaining watch at the end of the day. It's better than it should be. And I think a lot of that is the cast is really good. Besides that one chick I don't like. The cast is really good.
Lesbian gay girl.
Yeah, I don't like her. But everybody else, I'm like, everybody was really well cast and did a good job with what they had.
Yeah, well, if you've been listening to this, well, I would hope you would have seen it. But if you haven't seen it, I mean, go see it. I do think it's worth your time.
Yeah, it's not a like, maybe don't like, hey, let's watch this really cool movie on a first date kind of thing. But if you're like sitting at home by yourself and you want to watch something.
Honestly, like it's a good by yourself like Sunday afternoon movie. Like that's exactly what I did yesterday. I was like, this is good.
Yeah, same. I sat
agree
on my
with
couch.
Roger Ebert. It's like it's good. It's good. It's decent.
It's fine.
It's not art, but it's good. Well, Amber, thanks for doing this. I'll have to have you on again. I know you mentioned, didn't you, Jupiter Ascending? I think that's one of the ones you threw out.
Oh, yeah. We could talk about Jupiter Ascending. Another one that's like, what is this? Why is this entertaining? Is this better than it should be? And all-star cast with a ridiculous movie. Yeah, I will come back on to talk about Jupiter Ascending.
All right. Well, this is the end, and I leave you with you give me a wedding.
Ew.
Bye.
Gross.